so excited for today's video because it combines two of my favorite things, Hannah and pettily complaining about makeup products. Hey guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm so excited for because I've had this idea ruminating in the big brain up here for a while now.
Big boobs.
But I haven't really thought of a way to put it into motion just because it seems like a very niche concept. Makeup products that have fatal flaws. There are so many products in my collection where I feel like they could have been perfect, but there's one big flaw, either minor or major, that makes the product just not perfect, which is infuriating, or it just completely ruins the product in general. So I wanted to talk about some products that I feel like these products could have been perfection, but they have just like one thing wrong with them that makes them just fall short. So that is today's video concept, and today's video is a collaboration with my lovely, amazing friend who you probably already watched, Hannah from Smokey Glow. I cannot say enough good things about Hannah. She, behind the scenes, is a wonderful friend, is exactly who she appears to be on camera, is just a lovely, lovely person. Hannah does beauty content as well as really amazing, well-spoken commentary videos on the beauty world and YouTube in general. She's so smart, so eloquent in the way she expresses her opinions. We became friends last year, and really the best way I can describe her is my dream in life is to meet her because I feel like she gives really amazing hugs. Like, that's just the vibes I get from Hannah. And I'm just very, very excited to be collaborating with her today. But I wanted to do this topic with her because I'm so excited to see what products she picks out. So thank you again to Hannah for collaborating with me on today's video. And yeah, I know my complaints about these products are going to be petty, but
yeah, so I ended up not finishing that sentence.
Alright, this is the first product that came to mind when I was planning out this video, just because this product genuinely infuriates me because it could have been so perfect. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, genuinely one of my favorite bronzer formulas of all time. I have the light one. It's just the loveliest. Okay. It's just the loveliest formula. Such a soft, very smooth and silky, blendable, buttery formula, as the name would imply. Its fatal flaw, you may ask? The bulky ass packaging. It's so annoying to store. It's only bulky because it has this little foam spongy brush thing in here that nobody uses, and there's a mirror in the bottom as well. But this entire bottom compartment is just so you can store this dumb thing that nobody asked for. It could have been this nice, like, compact little bronzer, just like this much. That's all that's necessary. But they just had to make it annoying and bulky, and I hate that so much. That is something I hope we can leave in 2019 that I forgot in my video. I want to leave bulky, unnecessary packaging. I don't mind if a product is a little bit bulkier if it's actually optimizing all that space, but if it's just like this, make this bronzer smaller and make it $1 cheaper. I love testing out good drugstore options for foundations because I feel like a lot of my favorite dewier foundations are on the high-end side. I've also just genuinely been searching for a dupe for the Anastasia one, that preferably like under $20. And the Pacifica Alight foundation was something I started testing out last year. It's a really beautiful, kind of like satiny skin-like finish, as close as you can get to the Anastasia foundation. My problem with this is that it transfers like nothing else. Any dewier foundation, or honestly any foundation, is gonna transfer just a little bit. There are very few foundations I've ever found that don't transfer. The Anastasia foundation, for example, if I'm wearing a white shirt like this one and I'm pulling it over my face, I usually will get a little bit of foundation on the inner rim. The thing is that when this does transfer, I usually can't really tell that it transferred by looking at my face. Like, I don't see a line of demarcation where the foundation has disappeared from my face. I feel like that one, while it is dewy, it does dry down. This, however, this transfers not just on like fabric or anything, but like fingers. Happen to do this, which I've gotten out of the habit of doing this in class. I can like touch the middle of my forehead and it leaves like an actual fingerprint. It just doesn't really dry down. It stays looking very, very luminous, which I think is pretty. Of course, I've tried setting it down, but I feel like it still moves around. It'll just move around the powder on top of it as well. So as much as I wanted to love this because of its clean formulation and how pretty it looks on the skin when you first apply it, you have to virtually like not touch your face at all, otherwise it's over for you. This one makes me really sad. It's the e.l.f. Illuminating Moisturizer. And this actually reminds me very much of the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. I actually think this is an excellent dupe for this primer. Ole Henriksen one, however, has no SPF, and this one basically doesn't either because it's SPF 15. I never put anything below SPF 30 on my face for sunscreen. That's just like the minimum that you need for it to be effective. Even higher is great, but SPF 30 is like the benchmark. Anything below that is basically useless. I would have rather them either put SPF 30 in here or just not put sunscreen in here at all and just marketed it as a dewy primer because I think that's what it does best. But SPF 15 just feels so half-assed to me. This is still a really good dewy primer, but this could have been like the perfect dewy primer and sunscreen in one. They just had to do that to me. This is a product that despite the big glaring imperfection, I do still enjoy most of it. The Too Faced Natural Face Palette. This I always travel with because it has blushes, bronzers, and highlighters in here, and I really do like this formula a lot from Too Faced. They are a very hit and miss brand for me, but I think a lot of the things in their permanent collection, especially this palette, are really good. This falls just short of perfect because I hate the highlighter formula in here. Starlight has like a pink shift, and Satin Sheets has a very like kind of like bright gold shift. These look really pretty when you swatch them, but on the face they just show up as so powdery, and the duochrome flips just make them look so unnatural on the face. I can appreciate like a good duochrome flip, but especially with this entire palette, it's supposed to be the natural face palette, and these highlighters look so unnatural on the face. I do still love and use this palette. I only really use the 4 shades over here. They're only really pretty on like inner corner, and I wouldn't dip into a face palette for that. I'd probably just use an eyeshadow. So yeah, that is the big fatal flaw for this palette, unfortunately. Nothing is mildly infuriating like that one shade in an eyeshadow palette. There's that one shade and you're just like, Patricia! Get it together, sweetie. We have a show next weekend. That is exactly how I feel about the Huda Beauty New Nude palette. This is one of my favorite neutral palettes, and I'll show you guys the screenshot of my notes on screen so you can just see what I feel like is wrong with this palette. She included it in there as an eye base, and it's supposed to be something that you can use on the go for travel, so you don't have to bring an eye primer with you. You just use this shade here. I appreciate the idea. However, I feel like this could have been executed in a lot better way, either like enclosing this in an area where you can't get glitter and shimmer particles all over it, because this formula doesn't have the most fallout. I think Anastasia's formula is a lot more powdery, but they're shadows. They have a little bit of kick up. I try my best to be very, very neat with my makeup. I don't let my palettes get all powdery or anything, but inevitably stuff is going to get into these shades. It also, because it's an open air palette, this dries out pretty quickly. You have to warm it up a lot with your finger to get it to work again. And just in general, I think this would have been much better to be replaced with something else. I also don't really use it because I usually prime my eyes before I pick out which palette I'm going to use. By the time I'm like, I'm going to use a Huda Beauty New Nude palette, I've already primed my eyes, so I don't think to reach into this palette to use the concealed shade. They just should have left that shade out. I appreciate what they were trying to do, but no. Oh, this one I feel strongly about. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Gel. This could have been the most innovative brow product of the year. Basically, it is a super, super pigmented tinted brow gel to where it's basically a brow pomade in liquid form that you can apply. Just sweep through your brows, and it's supposed to be like a one and done step. Sweep this through and you're done with your brows. It fills them in and also holds them down. The problem is, I don't understand why they chose this particular brush size. First of all, nobody has brows this like thick. Well,
No. Well.
But also this brush just picks up way, way, way too much product to a point where I have to like scrape off a good like 80% of the product from the brush itself and then be very, very cautious sweeping it through. Just not a good brush design. It doesn't deposit the product well. It's way too big and just makes it a really cumbersome product to deal with. So this could have been perfection. The brush size and the design just makes it very, very difficult to work with. Another product that is completely ruined by the packaging for me is the Farsali Skin Tune. This I really love as a primer, and as of lately I've really enjoyed mixing this into my foundation. I really love mixing like 2 drops or so into my foundation, and I feel like it just brings this really smooth blurred effect to your face, and it doesn't disrupt the wear of your foundation either. Problem with this is the dropper, and I feel like this is true on all of Farsali's products, but the dropper picks up this much product, which is about 1 drop. You can put it in the bottle and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and it never ever rises above here. It's just not a good product dropper. It barely dispenses the product. I'm gonna have to actually take out the stopper and just scrape the product out myself, because it's expensive. Like, I don't want to waste any drop of this product, but there's so much in here that you can't get out because the dropper is so shitty. So I would love to see Farsali completely redo the packaging of this product, because I think the bottle is pretty. It's just a really, really awful quality dropper for such an expensive product. My favorite blush of all time is the Essence Satin Touch blush. Essence is one of my favorite drugstore brands. I just love a lot of their products. This is such a special pressed powder formula. My big problem with this and a lot of Essence's other products is that the packaging that they use is so cheap. It just breaks. Plastic that they use, especially for this closure area right here, it's such a weak, brittle plastic that I'm not rough with my makeup whatsoever, but just like turning and opening and closing this product weakens the plastic and it just breaks right off. So I've had 3 different Essence powder products where the top has come off. The Essence Brighten Up powder also did this to me. And something else I don't remember, but yeah, not great quality plastic holding it together, so it just comes off. And it's like only $3, so it's still my favorite blush in terms of formula, but I think the packaging leaves a lot to be desired. ColourPop lip products make up probably good 80% of my lip product collection. I love their formulas, I love their colors. I just think ColourPop makes really good lip products. This is kind of a petty gripe, but it makes a huge difference to me. It's that the writing and the printing on the tubes wears off and like goes away. So this is the ColourPop Ultra Satin Lip in the shade Frickin' Frack. I've had this for about 2 years. There's no more writing on it at all. It's completely worn off. It used to say like ColourPop Ultra Satin Lip. And I'm not like super rough with my makeup, but I do keep things in my purse. I'm pretty sure that's where the writing has worn off. So with this one, the writing's gone. You can't really tell what it is until you flip it over. But for me, a bigger gripe is with this one, the Disney Designer Collections, the Luxe Liquid Lipstick in the shade Beast, one of my favorite shades, had this really beautiful printing all over the tube that like made it special and made it part of the Disney collection. So you had like stars and you had a pretty font, it had the Disney logo in it, and I feel like having that, it makes it a part of the experience, and it's one of the key reasons I bought this was because of my nostalgia around Disney. And now you can't tell that it's from the Disney collection. So I would like to see ColourPop revamp their packaging and just make longer lasting, more durable printing, because it's such a minor gripe, but it takes away from the experience of using the product, and I think it just speaks to the quality level that goes into the printing, which makes me sad because usually ColourPop's makeup is great quality for a very affordable price, but then there's little details like this that just make it not great. And another thing from ColourPop, not just the Aha Honey palette, but any palette with a pressed glitter in it. I've done a few looks with this one and I've used a pressed glitter. It's not awful. It's just, I wish it was not a pressed glitter. I've actually decided to kind of swear off glitter for 2020 just because it's not good for the environment. ColourPop in particular does not use biodegradable ones. I think this palette just could have been so much better if this was a metallic shade, especially if you made like a foiled, kind of like the Huda Beauty ones. I think that would be beautiful. You just have a very true sunshiny yellow shimmer shade, which you don't really have a lot of in any other palette. No brands make, so that would have been a very nice, fun, unique shade, and it would not have taken away from the eye appeal of this palette at all. They had to put a pressed glitter in there because it looks more Instagrammable and more appealing to the eye. And for me, this is just a shade in the middle that I just don't use because I don't like using pressed glitters. For some people, pressed glitters are like a deal breaker that makes them not buy the palette. It's not necessarily that way for me, but I just generally don't use them, and I don't think that they add anything to the palette, if that makes sense. The Nudestix Nudies Bondi Bay is one of my favorite cream bronzers. It's such a lovely neutral shade. It does have a little brush on the other side, which I don't generally use, but it's there if you want to use it, and you can take it off if you want to. Main gripe with this is that it's pretty expensive. Nudestix in general is very pricey, but there's so little product in here. I remember when everyone was ragging on the KKW Beauty cream contour sticks for like having nothing in it.
You know how I feel. Why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation.
This, I would say I've used maybe like a quarter of it, so like this much more in there, and I've used a little bit. I think what they could do is get rid of the brush on the bottom and make this like $10 cheaper. That would be better because these are very pricey, and I do love this formula. I just think you're not getting a lot of product in here, and you're also getting an unnecessary brush for way too much money. This one breaks my heart because I tried for a long time to convince myself that this was a perfect palette for me. Nabla Dreamy palette, I do still love this palette a lot. It's one of my favorites in my collection. That being said though, the main shade that I bought this for, the main shade that really caught my eye and I think catches most people's eye, is Delirium, which is this beautiful purple shade up here. It's a purple black duochrome, so it's got a black base and purple glitter flecks all throughout. So beautiful, such a beautiful concept and a beautiful shade. The problem is, this is a mess to work with. It has the most fallout I've ever experienced in any shadow. So in a recent Get Ready With Me, I tried to use this shade as a liner, and it came out beautifully. I love how that look came out, but while I was doing it on camera, I was like silently panicking because I was getting like fallout all under here, and it was like smudging in my concealer, and it looks so bad. So with this shade, if you're gonna use it in your eye look, I would recommend doing your eyeshadow first, and this palette could have been perfect if they had just employed a little bit less of a crumbly formula for this one shade. I feel dirty mentioning my babies, the Glossier Cloud Paints. These are almost perfect, and this gripe is so minor, but my main problem with these is that they dispense way too much product. It's very hard to control how much you dispense. You have to be super careful. Like this much is enough to cover both cheeks, and that was like the smallest squeeze ever. I usually dispense way too much, and then I inevitably end up wasting some because it's such a pigmented formula that you really only need a tiny amount to get blush on both cheeks, and then you end up with like 3/4 of what you squirted out not being used. That is my main gripe with these ones. Honestly, I don't know how Glossier could fix that because it's just like the fact that the formula is so pigmented, but I think the formula is perfect. Like, I don't want them to change the formula. It's really easy to overdo it with these. So yeah. I love Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. Don't get me wrong. I stand Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. And I know that the Fenty Beauty Diamond Milk Gloss Bomb is not everyone's favorite. For me, I think this is a beautiful shade. It goes with everything because it's pretty much like a clear gloss with a little bit of like white shimmer throughout it, so it just adds a little bit of extra wetness to any lipstick that you put it on top of. Any type of clear gloss like this, if you use the applicator directly and swipe it across your lips, you're going to be picking up a little bit of the pigmentation from the lipstick you put underneath it, and then when you put it back in here, you'll dirty up this gloss. You're gonna get like pink and red mixed into this gloss, and over time it just stops looking like this pristine white diamond milk, as it was named. So the first time I used that, I made the mistake of using directly from the applicator and just going on my lips like that, and you can see the lipstick stain still on there. I personally want to keep it this white color, so if I want to use this lip gloss, I have to go in here, take the lip gloss on my finger, and be like, which defeats the purpose of this applicator. And one of the reasons I love Gloss Bomb so much is because the applicator is so good. It just makes me sad. So that is the fatal flaw of this product, is that any clear lip gloss is inevitably going to get dirty, and this one is so pretty that I don't want it to get dirty. You know, catch-22. The final product is this Tarte Foil Finger Paints Lunar Shadow Palette. These two are the Tarte Finger Paint Foil formula, which is one of the most blinding, ridiculously metallic formulas. Like, it's basically pressed metal. It's crazy. So I did buy it for the silver in here, but I really do like this taupe shade over here. My problem is with the blue down here. It's like a pressed glitter, but kind of not really. It's like a half-ass pressed glitter. They tried to do a pressed glitter, but also metallic at the same time, and it's just chunky. I've given this one time and effort, and it always betrays me. It's too glittery and chunky to be like a nice metallic shade, but it's also too like dry in texture to be a nice like pressed glitter. It's just Fallout City, and it adds a really nice eye appeal to the palette. Like, I love having a blue shade in there, but I wish they could have made it the same formula as these two rather than like a half-assed kind of between a pressed glitter and a metallic, and nobody wants that. Alright guys, that is it. Those are all the makeup products I feel like have fatal flaws. This is a concept I just feel like applies to so many products, but doesn't really have a name. So I think I just gave it a name, and I would love to see other people do this video. But now I'm very excited to go watch Hannah's video. But thank you so much to Hannah, Smokey Glow, for collaborating with me on this video, and thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed down below, and also follow me on Instagram to see makeup looks like this posted. I don't know, man. Winter quarter's gonna be busy. Just trying to graduate at this point. And if you made it to the very end of this video, you get the bonus bean. Love you. Bye.
Yes. I want to make a YouTube channel. You'll watch me? Oh my god. I'm gonna do it. Would you watch me? You subscribe? Imagine a fucking YouTuber. I'm gonna do it. You better subscribe.